Hi, I'm Madonna from New Leaf Natural Therapies. This is Joy, and I'm going to do a little bit of a check on some things, some allergic reactions to some bites, either scabies or mites or sandflies. We'll sort of have a look and see what it is. And then I'm going to see what organs are being affected by this and whether or not there is something deeper, like an emotional connection to these allergens, because sometimes when we keep getting something, it can really set off a survival fight and flight response. So therefore each time it happens, it gets worse and worse and worse as we get older, which of course we can think is because our immune system's getting worse, but it can be because our fight and flight responses are actually kicking in much faster. So let's sort of have a play and see what's going on. So for a start, there's some master immune system points we need to make sure that are up and running. And also Joy's got a bit of a sinus infection at the moment, so we'll also have a quick look at that as well. So there's some core immune system points, spleen 21's on the side of the body, as well as the thymus gland, the thymus chakra, the atlas at the base of the skull, and energy mismatch points on the side of the ear. So they're the points I'm going to check. So just sort of checking muscle testing in the clear without any stress. Hold, nice and strong. Hold, 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 hold. So in kinesiology speak, all of those points are up and running, so they're working at least 50% function. So I'm going to check the next level down, which is where emotional gear affects the immune system. So these finger modes are all emotional points. Then I put in the core immune system points again and hold, 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 and hold. So in the clear, all of those are working well as well. So now what I'm going to do is just check in relation to a few things. So basically when she goes to a particular place, she starts to get a red rash. A few days later, she feels sick in the stomach, nauseous, that sort of thing. And it often takes a couple of weeks to feel back on top of things again. So it's a fairly major reaction that's happening to something. So let's just check in relation to scabies, for example. And hold. Now obviously scabies are an infection that, they burrow in underneath the skin. Usually doctors have picked up on something like this. But they can be hard if they are hidden. Anyway, it's not looking like scabies, nothing's unlocking there. Let's check in relation to sandflies. And hold. Okay. Hold. So we're getting an unlock there. There's just no energy in there whatsoever in any of the master immune system points. Hold. And the point beside the right ear is showing up. That's the energy mismatch point. Hold. That's the thymus gland. It makes a lot of antibodies. It's not up and running. And neither's the thymus chakra. So certainly, if it's not sandflies, then at some point in the past sandflies has been an issue, but I'm suspecting sandflies is the issue here. So what we do then is tap the point. So it's sort of like acupuncture points that are deactivated or overloaded. So they can either be underworking or overworking with an unlock. So we basically tap them usually for somewhere between 5 and 20 seconds. And I find a combination of the small intestines on both, spleen 21's on both sides, as well as the kidney 27's, they're just underneath the collarbones on both sides. And then because energy mismatch shows up as well, there's little points just inside the eyebrows. And then there's little points just either side of the nose. Then points on the tootsies. And I always do an anti-clockwise tap around the heart as well. What that does is helps to switch on the electrical, it helps to wake up the heart energy. So heart energy in this circuitry is to do with self-love, self-worth. So when we start feeling bad because we're feeling awful, it just doesn't feel very nice. Hold. Oh, sorry, sandflies and sandfly bites. And hold, 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 hold. Okay. Now, because it's been happening for some time and the reactions have last so long, I'm going to see whether it's linked in with adrenals. So the flexor hallucis longus is this muscle in the bottom of the foot. So I'm going to stretch it, and that's really tight on Joy's foot. Hold the arm up nice and strong, and it can't lock. So the arm can't stay up when I'm pulling on the big toe muscle, which means that big toe wants to be shortened. That muscle wants to be tight. It wants to ground itself into the earth. So in other words, hold up, Joy. Okay, so it's fine on the left, but it's not so fine on the right. So I'm just going to do a stretch. Breathe in, breathe out and push.
Wait, what am I,
okay.
In or out?
That's right, breathe in, breathe out and push. That's it, perfect. So this is a PNF stretch. It helps to reset the muscles. Breathe in, breathe out and push. Breathe in, breathe out and push. So the big toe muscle, that muscle in there, the flexor hallucis longus, relates to the adrenal glands. Hold up for me. So that says, yep, this body runs on adrenaline. Joy's also a chronic insomniac. So, you can imagine if you're not sleeping enough regularly, you have to run on adrenaline through the day. And hold up. That point there is central vessel 10. That's not unlocking, but that one's survival switching. Same spot on the spine, hold, is a governing point. That's deep survival, that's fine. Hold a little bit, okay, that one's unlocking. So a little bit further up the spine and over the heart energy again, that's called deep hidden survival pattern. Which means that even though her immune system knows the reaction's going to happen in relation to sandfly bites, there's an energy mismatch, which means it doesn't know what to do with it. And when we get a deep hidden survival pattern, it means that the body goes into overdrive. The unconscious brain goes, holy moly, I don't know how to keep you safe. So it can do things like shut down the gut, shut down the liver, make you pee more often, overactivate your kidneys, slow down your thyroid so you can feel tired. It can make you breathe really shallow so you constantly feel heaviness in the chest or slightly anxious. So it can do all these things because the body's gone, holy moly, the sandflies are the same as having a tiger in the room. So it really changes the way your body's responding. So because there's a deep hidden survival pattern, I'm going to just check what area, nuclei in the brain. So I've got a chart here, I'm just checking which nuclei. Okay, so the first little area showing up is the cerebellum vermis. It's in the rear of the brain. Hold out for me. Okay, so the cerebellum vermis is when for the emotional gear doesn't match what's going on. So obviously if you've got a happy thing you're doing, going to the beach or going somewhere where you should be having a nice fun time, you get bitten by sandflies, it sort of can end up adding the whole pleasure and pain thing together. You've got the good thing going on, but it's matching up with a negative thing. So all of a sudden your brain can go into turmoil about doing something that should actually be a lot of fun. And funnily enough, this point up here, it's an amygdala point that's showing up. It's to do with it switches off the pleasure reward centers in the brain. So the brain is deliberately making it harder to relax and have fun because it knows some sort of trauma is about to happen. So the fear of going and having sandfly bites can be creating the same trauma as if a tiger was about to eat you. Yay, the unconscious brain. So cerebellum vermis shows up when the emotion doesn't match what's actually going on. And we think, why am I so sad? Why am I so angry? Why am I so upset? I've actually had a really good day. But it's when the emotion doesn't match what's actually going on and our brain can't quite reconcile it. The next area showing up is the orbitofrontal cortex. And again, hold out for me. Okay, so this little area is to do with when the brain can't let go of a thought. So something happens, and even if you might have made a decision to get past something, or you go, oh, I'm not going to let that bother me, it's still going round and round and round in your head. So once again, this is also switching off the pleasure reward centers in the brain. Which means there might be something going on with dopamine, serotonin, and some of the feel-good hormones. So inflammation can shut down your feel-good hormones. So basically it can cause anxiety, depression, stress, that sort of thing. Next little right. This next little area is the subclausal gyrus. It's to do with genetic anger. So genetic anger. So you can imagine in the same way you can inherit skin and eyes and, you know, similarities in families to breast cancer or diabetes or heart disease or something, you can also inherit emotional gear.
Right.
Yeah, great. Hold out. So with this particular one, the subclausal gyrus, there's thought that we store up to 7 generations of how our ancestors have dealt with stress and anger in there. And once again, it's doing the same thing. It switches off the pleasure reward centers. Generally, you're fairly good at sweeping things under the carpet and not revisiting stress when you can, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
So I suppose when something's causing you a physical reaction, a physical response, like sandfly bites and then having 2 weeks of feeling blah afterwards, your conscious brain that's so good at letting normal stress go, your brain probably goes, what the heck is this? You know, I'm pretty good at letting stuff go. Why aren't I letting it go?
Because it keeps itching.
Because it keeps itching. Okay, next little area showing up as the reticular activating system. Now I think we might just see if this finishes the circuit. The reticular activating system sits just underneath the brain stem, and it controls what hormones are released when something new is happening in our life. And at the moment, once again with sandflies in circuit as being the goal, you know, to get over your fear, stress, of itchiness of sandfly, it activates noradrenaline. So you've got the adrenaline running in the short term, which means short term your brain goes, holy moly, here are the sandflies. But the noradrenaline kicks in as that part of the brain that goes, holy moly, the sandflies are going to follow me around for the rest of my life and I'm not going to be itchy again. So it's sort of like, because this is what the nervous system does, it overreacts so to protect you, which is a good thing. But what the vigilance does, so this with my hand, that's actually, it's a kidney point that is just over the surface of the body. But that kidney point, it's to do with vigilance. So the nervous system has gone, don't you relax and de-stress and be happy because you know those sandflies are there. So it can quite change the neurology in the brain and the combination of the hormones we're releasing when our body gets into a pattern around something. So yes, it can be that as we get older, our immune system isn't as functional, but it can be that our survival patterns are getting worse because more stuff happens and we get to that point where I don't want to feel like that again. Either way is good. We just need to, work on it and boost it. Okay, so once again, going back and checking out the flexor hallucis longus. Hold up for me. Beautiful. Now this one was fine before, survival switching. It's still fine. Sometimes an extra layer comes through, so I should check. That's deep survival. That's still fine. This is the one that was out last time, the hidden deep survival pattern. That's perfect. Now let just me go into the conscious brain and make sure there's nothing going on. So in relation to the corpus callosum and trust, anterior commissure with depression, CC trust, now that's actually all pretty good. So that's just a little immune system balance combined with some survival stuff that was linked into the immune system. I'm just going to, because of the nausea, I'm just going to check your digestive function in relation to that. So firstly, the pec major claviculus, hold up for me. This relates to the stomach energy, and hold, that's fine. This time I'm going backwards. This is pec sternal, that's good. And hold, that's liver, that's good. I'm going to check these little muscles here. Bend the leg and hold up for me, hold.
Oh,
okay.
I don't know where you wanted me to
Bend the
hold
leg
anyway.
and hold up. Okay. So quadriceps relate to the small intestine. About 80-90% of our immune system is in the small intestine. When we are under stress, anything we don't digest has to get digested in the small intestine. If our liver is really working hard, everything going from the liver gets digested in the small intestine. And we make a heck of a lot of things like serotonin, our feel-good hormone, in the small intestine. So the quadriceps relate to the small intestine energy. Okay, beautiful. So, yeah, so that's good. So that's immune system and survival, and just checking the organs associated with it. Thank you very much. Hope that was good.